Thank you, Chair, and thanks also to the ranking member for having me here today. Mr. Liu, I'm sure you're aware, I led a letter alongside 30 of my colleagues here in Congress to the State Department as well as to the President. You've got it right there. Talking about credible allegations of election rigging in the Pakistani elections, and we urged that the administration withhold recognition of the new government in Pakistan until a credible and transparent investigation on election interference had been conducted. I know that the U.S. Embassy congratulated Mr. Sharif, quote, on his assumption of the office of Prime Minister, but I haven't seen a statement yet from the State Department itself. So just so we're clear at this point, yes or no, has the U.S. officially recognized the new government in Pakistan?
Representative Casar, I would like to answer with yes or no. The actual answer is a little more complicated, if you'll allow me. The government of the United States, we don't actually go around recognizing or withholding recognition of new governments. That's not something we do anywhere around the world. What we do is we decide whether we're going to engage with a government. And so, yes, you have seen actions by our ambassador, our embassy. We are, in every interaction with this government, stressing the importance of accountability for election irregularities, sir. Can I just also add, your letter is incredibly important. It's important that the Pakistani people, the Pakistani government hear not only from the administration, but from members of Congress, and having so many of them speak together has real influence. The administration largely agrees with your recommendations. We have done many of the things that you have proposed. We have said publicly and privately that we want to see transparent and credible investigation of election irregularities. We have called for accountability for mass detentions of people in the opposition, and we have said loudly and clearly that military trials for civilians accused of crimes after May 9th is not in keeping with international norms.
I appreciate that. And so in other cases, for example, in the case of Venezuela or some other countries where the State Department has spoken out very clearly about election rigging, and we can talk about separately about how it is that we treat those governments or treat those countries, but it seems that when we have had allegations of election rigging that we've spoken out much more clearly than in this case. And I would urge that we continue to speak with the level of moral clarity that we have in other situations. But I appreciate your recognition and speaking out here today about how it's not okay for us to be having journalists jailed, for Twitter to get shut down, for there to be this continued, very clear to me, interference in democracy. Given the credible allegations of fraud and rigging, what gives you confidence that this government will have the democratic legitimacy necessary, not only for the interests of the Pakistani people, but for the interests of the United States?
Sir, the political and economic stability of Pakistan is important for the United States. It is important that the Pakistani people...
And I'm short on time. Is it your sense right now that there is going to be that democratic legitimacy, or do we have real concerns? I'm sorry, I have one more question for you, so just give me your...
Sir, I think that's up to the process ongoing now in the Electoral Commission of Pakistan.
One more question. Most security assistance to Pakistan has been suspended since 2018. Recently, the Pakistani ambassador said that Pakistan's awaiting a decision from the U.S. on increasing military sales and financing. Yes or no, are there ongoing conversations about increasing military assistance to Pakistan?
No ongoing conversation about large-scale increases, no.
That's good to hear. Given that the U.S. has already sent hundreds of millions of dollars in aid, are there any steps the State Department is taking to ensure that the aid we send is not used for any of these abuses that you've identified?
Sir, absolutely. There is very close monitoring of where our military assistance goes around the world, including to Pakistan. For example, the F-16s sold to Pakistan over 40 years ago have active U.S. technical security teams monitoring their use every day.
Thank you for that. Has the U.S. identified any units of military or security forces that would not be eligible for aid?
Yes.
We have identified those. Thank you for your clear answers. Thank you for being here through this hearing, and I hope that we can, after this hearing, continue the work of making sure that we actually fully investigate the election and that we actually make sure people are let out of jail that were put in there that unfairly, because democracy in Pakistan, of course, will serve the people of Pakistan, but it is so clearly in the United States' interest. I started out on this seeing the failures we had in Latin America of prioritizing military relationships over democratic relationships, and it never served us there, and it won't serve us in Pakistan or anywhere else. So thank you so much, Mr. Lim.
Thank you, sir.